Good evening to all. I'm ANIL Kumar. Today I will be discussing about the concept of the enterprise cloud computing paradigm. So this is one of the good concept in cloud computing. So let me go for the concept. So first we'll go for the introduction about the what is meant by enterprise cloud computing paradigm. So how we will be easily to the cloud, how it will be accessing to the different types of resources or to the different types of communications it can be maintaining. So what is the main advantage whenever we will be computing to the under one paradigm to the cloud? So what are the advantages of the business processes overviews or the companies of the business perspective? So here is we'll go for the different types of services. It can be under one paradigm. So either it should be in an online process or to be the offline, or it can be showing to be the supported to the third party integrations tools we can be integrating into the cloud. So whenever we can be using for the different types of collaborations or to be the accessing to the online or to the offline resources, whenever it has to be communicating using for the different types of platforms. So what is the main advantage for this cloud computing paradigm? So for the enterprise cloud computing is the alignment of the cloud computing model with an organization's business objectives. So whenever use any type of the business objectives in the organization, so we'll go for the profit and the return of the investment and the reduction of the operations and the cost and the processes. So these are the main agenda of this. We can be we will do the paradigm of the cloud. So what are the models is to be available whenever we have to deploy to the cloud? So means we have to deploy to the different types of resources using under one cloud. So for that time how we can be deployed to the cloud? So here is deployment of the models. There are three types of deployment models. The first one is in essential characters, and these are the different types of models. It can be in public, private, and the hybrid and community, and the service models. So for this, first we'll go for the essential characteristics. According to NIST, the cloud computing is to be composed of 5 essential characters. The first one is a measured service, second one is a resource pooling, and third one is an on-demand self-service, and the fourth one is a broad network access, and the fifth one is a rapid elasticity. And the second one of the deployment model is a public and the private and the hybrid and the community model. And third one is in a service models. So it can be deploying the based on the organization requirement. It can be providing to the service, software as service, or to be the platform as service, or to the infrastructure as service. So here is it can be using to the different types of deployments using to be the virtual private cloud. So for this you can be observing here. So for this the different types of resources has to be communicating to the different types of platforms. This is a virtual private cloud, is a public means is a public cloud means it will be accessing for the many of the members. So for that, whenever we have communicating to the virtual private network, it should be supported as an infrastructure as service. Through this VPN, we will be communicating to the different types of the private clouds. So like for this VP cloud, we will be distributing or to be the accessing to the different types of resources or to be the different types of services. It can be providing these type of the resources like as in a platform as service or to be the infrastructure as service. Based on this resources criteria or to be the organization of the criteria will be providing to the what type of the cloud it can be configuring and what type of the services it can be connected to this. So for this hybrid, it will be communicating to the public and the private. So based on these resources, the infrastructure is to be mandatory to be the providing to the resources of the any type of the organization. So that's why here the basic three things of the three services, the platform as service, infrastructure as service, or to be the software as service. So that is the main the deployment of the models in the cloud computing, enterprise cloud computing. So next one is how the data centers has to be communicating, how we can be adapting to the different types of strategies we can be using to the different types of clouds. So here is the main thing is a scalability driven. So here is the, the cloud data center. This is in the main circle area. So for this we can be connecting to the different types of clouds and how it will be maintaining to the what of the data center it has to be providing to the resources to the perfectly. The first one is a scalability driven. So use of cloud resources to support additional load or to be the backups of the servers it can be maintaining. And the second one is an availability driven. Use of load balanced and localized cloud resources to increase the availability and reduce the response time. And third one is a market driven. Users and providers of cloud resources make decisions is based on the potential saving and the profit for the market driven. And convenience driven, use cloud resources so that there is no need for the maintenance of the local resources. So why? Because the cloud data center it has to be the all the services using to be the based on the criteria it can be providing is an infrastructure as service or platform as service or to be the software as service. So for the how the consumption strategies it can be working to the while we can be communicating to the paradigm. The first one is a software provision, and the second one is a storage provision to the cloud, and the third one is a solution, and the fourth one is a redundancy service. We go for the first software provision. So here is you can be observing for the different types of data centers and the data servers has to be communicating to the network. So here we can be using for the different types of switches to be the communicating to the cloud to be the data center or to be the data resources. So here is for anything the cloud instances has to be maintained of the software, but data is to be maintained within the user of the data center only. So second one is in a provisioning of the storage, how we can be provisioning to the storage into the data, on how we can be managing into the data into the remotely from users data centers. So we can be whenever we have to communicating to the user or to the resources. So for that time the resource it can be getting to the particular data center of the particular data center of the provisioning of the data or to be the cloud of the data center of the server. It should be providing to the any type of the services it will be based on the client requirement. And third one, if any error has to be occurred into the while transmission period of the data or to be the if they return to the data for that software or to be the storage maintained in the cloud and the user does not maintain any data centers, so doesn't require to the any type of the service means for that the cloud it can be providing to the three different types of deployment models. Based on that it will be using to the all those things. Redundancy services, how we can be redundancy to the any type of the network or to the extensions of the alternative or extension of the users of the data centers for software and storage of the data. These are the issues for enterprise applications in the cloud. Enterprise resource planning is maintaining the capabilities of the ERP, the transactional capabilities and analytical capabilities. The transactional capabilities is in OLTP is in a main online transactional processing. The management transaction oriented applications, asset properties, write update intensive CRM means is in a customer relationship management. Analytical capabilities is in a OLAP, analytical online analytical processing, analysis, reporting, decision making, read only, data intensive and business intelligence.